Joining me now for more on what Congress is doing to help America get through the pandemic, Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat of California. Senator, you come from a state that has managed its outbreak fairly well. There was an announcement today that LA County is going to keep its shelter-in-place order for the duration of the summer. It looks like 3 months. How do you think the CDC's guidelines and the president's messaging are interacting in terms of what message is getting sent out to the country about how we go forward?
Well, Chris, frankly, nothing has really changed about the president's disposition and failure to embrace truth and speak truth to the American people. The CDC obviously did the work. They had it's about at least a dozen pages, this document, of recommendations that they've made. And yet again, Donald Trump is attempting to suppress the work and the word of public health professionals. And this is after a long line of activities by him that have been about a failure of leadership, from rejecting the seriousness of it, calling it a hoax, to trying to muzzle the voices of public health professionals. So this is just more of the same. Thank God for Dr. Fauci. Thank God for him to having the courage to speak truth. God only knows what kind of repercussion he's going to face for speaking the truth, but obviously he has the well-being of the American people as his priority, as opposed to the political patronage that this president thinks he's due.
There was a really interesting tweet thread today from a staff member of one of your colleagues who was a Democratic staffer talking about where we are in terms of the economic consequences and worrying that the scale of the bills and the legislation is not equal to the depth and breadth of the pain. Are you worried about that mismatch? Do you think there's more to be done?
Absolutely, very much. In fact, look, we have 33.5 million people who lost their jobs in just the last 7 weeks. 1 in 5 working adults in America is now unemployed. Not to mention the fact that 1 in 5 mothers has described her children as being hungry in America today. So our country has been devastated. Working families are suffering. We have a hunger crisis in America. And this is why, among the number of initiatives that I'm leading or are a part of, one of them, along with Bernie Sanders and Senator Markey, is that we're saying that instead of a one-time payment of $1,200 that was in one of the previous bills, American families who are making less than $100,000 a year, or those who are unemployed, should be able to receive $2,000 a month through the course of this pandemic and for 3 months after that, because families are suffering. They're not able to buy food. They're not able to pay rent, much less other bills. And we have to lift them up and not let people drop through the cracks until we can get through this process. We need to give them assistance. And what we have done has been inadequate. We have failed to require paid sick leave. We have failed to provide family leave. We have failed to provide affordable child care and free child care, especially for those first responders and frontline workers who, sadly, we keep referring to them, of course, as essential workers, and yes, they are, but let's not allow them to be sacrificial workers. So there's a lot of work yet to be done, and mostly to focus on working people and poor people in America, and make sure that they're not going hungry, and make sure that we lift everyone up through this crisis so that we can survive and then ultimately recover.